Hey guys, welcome back to the Agoge Show. I'm here with my business partner Josh Hansberger and Coach Joe Luplow from the Agoge. And today we're going to talk about the role of recovery and how recovery plays into your performance and your gains. Because I think a lot of people neglect it. So, Josh, we've actually talked about this a lot. Well, let's just go there. How important is recovery? Do you need to recover, and what is recovery?
It's allowing your body to rest, recuperate, repair, so it can actually build all the damage, repair the damage that you've just done to it. If you're training.
So I didn't get gains in the gym. That's where gains happen.
You started a process, right? That kind of needs like a secondary process in order to make the full circle go around, right?
So
it's not sexy and it's not typically fun. It's the things that people almost mostly ignore because, like you see all the time, like, hey, the hour that you spend in the gym, it's really about the other 23 hours. Like recovery fits into a large portion of those 23 hours. So it's not fun. It's not
sexy.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's usually slow, methodical, right? Tedious at times. I'm not selling it very well, right? but it needs to be done, right? In order
we put a lot of effort into it
in order to get right or receive the benefits that you're seeking to achieve from the performance that you just had in the gym.
I think you said something a long time ago. Like we put all this effort into the gym, all this hard work into the gym, right?
Yeah.
And then we don't do anything outside.
We expect the body to just do it.
Figure it out.
Like, hey man, I don't know, like I'm done doing what I need to do.
Right.
And now you just, I don't know, just repair itself naturally.
Your body will repair. It's just not effective for progress.
Like if we're looking for optimization.
You'll recover, but you're not going to progress.
Yeah, if we're looking for optimization.
What is, with your athletes and even with some of the bodybuilding stuff, which is really interesting because I think you look at a bodybuilder and it kind of if you want to say hyperizes everything because everything is under the microscope, right? Mm-hmm. Every little change.
No, every 0.5% matters.
Every 0.5% matters, right? Up. So for them, let's just get on the sleep thing. Like, I don't know, what's the average American sleeping now these days? What's the last average?
I'd probably say 5 to 6.
I'd say 5 to 6. Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah. Which is crazy because they stay up late. They get it. They sleep in.
But it's not just a 5 to 6. It's the quality.
It's the quality.
It's not a
5.7. Bam.
Up 6,
okay.
Yeah.
So it was
5.7. So like if you have an athlete, and I think the reason why I think this is interesting is because say we have people want to lean out, right? Well, bodybuilders get extremely lean, especially when they're before a show, right? Like ridiculously lean. If they're not sleeping, will they lean out?
To a point, but then they stop sleeping. Their cortisol doesn't get situated. They start bloating, and then they show up on stage looking like fucking water balloons.
So if you're stressed, so cortisol, for those that don't know, cortisol is one of the stress hormones. Yes. And correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't cortisol help make one of the side effects of a high cortisol hormone in your body is water retention?
Yes.
Therefore, you're not going
to have the appearance. You're still lean. Your body fat hasn't changed.
Yeah.
You're just retaining a lot of water because you're under stress.
Right.
Like I had a bodybuilder at one point. We were going to a bodybuilding show, a national show, and he was working at a lumber yard. Mm-hmm. So he's pretty strenuous, moving shit around all day, and he's doing 60 minutes of cardio, eating, training, and it's a lot. Yeah. And when you get down to zero fat. He's operating on 100 grams of carbs around training. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have the fuel to train through his workouts and do the cardio. That's part of it. But then at the same time, working at a lumber yard.
I was going to say, and working in a lumber yard.
Yeah. So but the thing is, I didn't know how much his workload at work.
He didn't tell you.
I knew he worked in a lumber yard, but I didn't realize how strenuous it was.
Yeah.
Until I could dude, you should be coming down in weight. I don't know what's going on. We tracked on his sodium. We tracked on his food. We don't need to change your cardio. This is not, something's off somewhere. So I started.
I don't have a piece of data.
Right. So I started digging into it and identified that his workload at his actual employment was significantly higher than what I thought it was. Mm-hmm. So we just peeled back his cardio.
So you peel back the cardio.
I gave him 2 extra rest days. He came back on day 3 looking like a completely different athlete because he got his body.
I'm so glad that you said that because what's a wild thing to think for losing weight, for literally burning fat and getting lean, right? If you want to burn fat and get lean, necessarily working out more is not the actual work. Like
efficiency.
That and then so I went. I mean, granted, I do jujitsu 4 days a week, but when I actually leaned out, I cut down to three lifting sessions a week and walking.
That's all you need. I mean, and then how strenuous are your lifting sessions?
Like they're good.
You know, well,
they're good.
There you go. If you felt good, you were still performing, and you didn't feel overtaxed.
But I had to, for me to get the results that I wanted, right? Because I sat down with my coach, and I'm like, you know, what do they call it? The rules for
thee and not.
Yeah, I thought I'm a special butterfly. Like yeah, I can do more. I'm Nick Kumalatsos. I could do more than the average person. So I'll do that for other clients, right? Hey, walk this much, go on these walks, get this many steps, etc. But for me, I'm like, no, just fucking train more.
Let's just work.
Let's just work harder. And it wasn't until she made me okay. Now we're cycling down. We're going to down regulate. And we're going to do a lot of low-level movement, meaning just walking. Yep. Where I don't have to feed you calories, right? I don't have to feed you calories to get you to recover from this exercise because you're just walking.
Right.
It's a very low caloric burn, but you're still burning calories, and you don't need to recover from it.
So it sounds like you focused on an optimization of your recovery.
It lowered
in order to
be
able to optimize the training sessions that you had.
Right. It lowered my stress. It lowered my cortisol. And I leaned out by doing less.
That's how it works. Sometimes. Yeah. When you get to a point.
We get to a point. Yeah. So it's interesting because people think, we don't, like Josh said, like you put all this effort into the gym and then you just half-ass
everything
else. And it's like, no, that's where the actual gains are happening. Yeah. The gains are happening while you sleep. And if you're only getting 5.7 hours of sleep a night, bro, that ain't it.
No.
Where do you try to get people? Where's like hey, listen, I'd really like you to be at this amount of sleep.
I say 7 at a minimum. I aim for them to get at 7. But if a dude's only getting 6, all right, cool. Let's talk about the quality of that 6 hours. Are you on your phone before you go to bed? Yeah. Get off your fucking phone. Let your body relax so you get into REM.
No caffeine. Yes. No caffeine by a certain time.
Like so, those things will help your body get into REM a little bit longer, a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
Which is recovery takes place more. Blah 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 blah. I'm not getting all of that. I'm not going to get into all that, but it's the quality of the.
But if you want to, I highly suggest we all wear. I don't know. Where's yours?
What?
Your ring.
Charging at home on my charger. So yeah.
Oops. Really good. You don't need to look at it anyway because you were probably jacked from coming from Hawaii.
Right now.
But we all wear Oura rings because we're nerds and we want to track. We want to track specifically what we're doing in conjunction with our HRV, our heart rate, our stress, etc. Everything. Sleep, REM, whatever. And granted, is it 100% accurate?
No, but it's an excellent unit of measurement.
Yeah.
It's better than like just perceivably shooting darts and thinking about how this might be. Right. That becomes a constant metric.
It's been interesting because I know that when it says, your strain is high and you should probably look for a recovery day, I'm like, nah, fuck that. I'm good. I'm good. I'm going to go train. And then I have a shitty training session.
Yeah. Listen to your body. Well, the ring.
Yeah.
But the ring's telling you
no, I don't listen. I don't listen to anything. I'm just like, no.
So I bought it. I wear it. I pay for it monthly, but I just don't listen to it. I don't hear it.
But there is data driven around it, right? There absolutely is. And it wasn't until I had to I took a step back and then did the recovery things. But sleep is one of the biggest ones, man.
I mean, you brought up a good point, right? Like recovery, one of the biggest optimizations. Your body seemingly is not like in a mechanical movement for let's say 7-8 hours, 5.7 hours for the rest of America, right? Setting yourself,
but I don't want to look like the rest of America, so 5.7 hours is out.
So like setting yourself up to the most advantageous point in order to get the most optimal sleep that you can for it to be restorative repair. I tell guys all the time, it's really nice when they have kids, right? Because I can draw this assimilation factor. I'm like, so what do you do when you have kids, right? You want to put them on a bedtime routine. Why? Well, so they're not crazy dicks in the morning. Okay, that's part of it, right? But it's to optimize them. There's a process of down and deregulation so that when you want them to go to bed at like 8 or whatever your time is, you don't just like fling them, from running around in the yard and then tell them to go to bed and put the lights off and then wonder why they're screaming and they don't want to go to bed and they're freaking out. No. Plan it appropriately.
Right.
Like, get off the TV or get off the couch or whatever it is that they're doing. Take a bath, right? Begin to like
create
the system a little bit.
Create a system.
Set it up, right? So you can put them in an optimal place. So when you tuck them in and read them a book, they just kind of zone off into La La Land.
Yeah.
So we need to parent ourselves. That's the way I look at it. Is like being able to kind of parent ourselves because otherwise we're adults, man. We can do whatever the fuck we want, right? Like who's gonna be in charge of us unless we take the charge ourselves to set it up
and build that routine.
Up. Take a shower, go brush your teeth, like build a systematic approach to it, and then eventually your body on like a subconscious, sub-physiological, or almost his level is going to say, okay, it's time to go to bed.
It's the what's the thing with the dog and the saliva and the bell?
That's Pavlov's dog.
Pavlov's. Like that's the same thing. You're training your body to when this thing happens, your body's like, it's time to go into recovery mode. So we're immediately down regulating.
Yeah.
So things like, blue light, black, if you're watching TV or screens, phones, computers, etc. As soon as the sun goes down, I put on the blue light blocking glasses. So if I'm watching TV or something, those go on. No caffeine after 12 o'clock. And then my schedule is rough, but I try not to eat 3 hours preferred, but 2 hours before bed would be preferred. Because I don't want, if you wake up tired and you've eaten right before bed, while you're sleeping, instead of going to REM and getting the recovery that you need.
Your
body's processing and digesting.
That makes sense.
Your body's digesting its food. So
it's doing its job.
It's doing its job.
It's doing a different job than what you really want.
What you're supposed to be doing. Yeah, you shouldn't be digesting food while you sleep. So, which will interrupt your REM sleep, right? So anyways, things like that. Jeff Nichols, actually, he even uses a special, he has a separate toothpaste for nighttime.
This is a long time ago, but he broke this down for me. Like at that point, at first, man, quite honestly, I love that fucking guy.
Yeah.
But I looked at him and I was like, what a fucking dork. Right? Because I didn't understand and or appreciate to the level that he was taking it and the reasons and the justifications. But I just looked at it externally and was like, dude, that sounds stupid. And then once I wrapped my brain around it and I listened to him for a little bit longer and he's like, this is why. And I was open to learn. I'm like, oh, dude.
Yeah, so like things like
this is beautiful.
Like
I've used it ever since.
Yeah, I think he used like a mint something.
It was Jeff, kick me in the nuts, please don't. But if I'm wrong, it had something to do with lavender soap. I believe he had with eucalyptus in his shower.
So is the smell?
This is public, so I'm not like disclosing his shower routine at that point in time.
But the point of it was you smell this smell and following that smell is always like I'm down regulating, I'm going to bed. Yeah. So you're just creating that habit. So he had a special toothpaste for nighttime.
Yep.
He had a special shower routine, dim lights, etc.
And what happened? The guy went from where he was prior to figured out, and again, this is what worked for him. I'm not saying this is going to be a blanket system for everyone. He went through a process to figure out what worked best for him and his body, and then after that.
But then don't do it one night and go, it didn't work.
It didn't work.
Dude.
It's absolutely a repetitious thing.
Yeah, you have to build the repetition. You have to build the muscle memory of, hey, listen, this is how my body responds, and that's just one thing. And then we get into ice. Like Josh and I woke up this morning and suffered in the sauna for 20 minutes. And when I say suffer, I'm like, when people say like, oh, I did a sauna session, motherfucker, listen. You didn't do no sauna session. Like until you're ready to you're like, I might die here. This might be it for me. That plunge sauna is no joke.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah,
it is nice. But when you pour that water on those rocks,
it's like CS gas going straight down.
That's what he was saying this morning.
Breathe.
It's like
you can't breathe, and your like finger beds are burning. It's so hot.
But it's also been a while since I've been inside like a steam one like that.
So
for me to go from 0 to hero,
again,
probably wasn't the best idea.
I was struggling too. But anyways, so like we do the hot cold therapy. So sauna, jump into a 40-degree cold plunge.
How long?
3 minutes.
Okay.
back in the sauna. Okay. On the weekends, I do 4. So in the weekdays, I just do 1 each. So I just get 1 each.
Like 3 and 3. I'll like 8 and 3 kind of thing.
No, I'll do on the week. So during the day, I'll get 20 minutes in the sauna at like 200 to 230 degrees, 3 minutes in the plunge.
Okay.
And then that's it. I'll warm up, start my day.
Yep.
On the weekends with Allie, we like to do the rotations. So we'll do 20 minutes in the sauna, 3 minutes in the ice bath, back in the sauna, warm up completely till we're hot again, back in the ice bath for 60 seconds, back in the sauna, completely recover, and then we'll do that for a total of 4 rotations. Okay. Dude, you feel like $1 million after
I can
that.
imagine.
$1 million after that. It is amazing. So things like that, mobility, doing like we have in the Agoge, we have a morning mobility flow. Mm-hmm. People love it. They don't.
No, it's speaking of that. I saw because I have my own mobility flow that I do. Mm-hmm. It's from Olympic weightlifting and stuff that I do. And then I started working with David Lambert, guy who's in the Agoge. Yeah. And I was watching his mobility flows. Like he was asking me about. I was like, dude, it's solid. Like everything you're doing is keep doing that. So what would you change? Nothing. Just keep doing that.
Did you make it for him, or
no? It's John Mark actually provided it for him.
It's probably the Agoge. It's probably the Agoge one.
It's solid.
Yeah,
I was really
takes you. I think it's 8 minutes
or so.
Personnel dependent, right? The first maybe times you do it.
So the way we made it for the YouTube videos, if you just follow along with the YouTube video, that's it. Because I made the clips as long as they needed to be for that particular thing. But there's a couple movements that. What was the scorpion kickback rollover thing with the hips?
Yeah.
Oh, the sit-throughs? Yeah, I call
There's
it
definitely some
No, that's the sit-throughs. This is one where you're like all fours and you kick your leg back up.
Oh, yeah,
and
then and
then you rotate around and go back to a crab walk.
I watch him do them.
Yeah.
But he does them.
He does them?
Sweating. He's 310 pounds at the time, 315.
Yeah.
Just dripping with sweat during his mobility. So I was like, motherfucker, you're just getting mobilized, dude. We haven't even started training yet. Like we're about to fucking go hard.
He's got the Crucible coming up this summer.
He's killing it though, man.
So he's got a long way to go. Anyways, so yeah, like things like that, mobility, and then nutrition. As far as that as well, what do you do with your clients for recovery as far as water intake? Speaking of, and I want to specifically talk to the higher end clients like bodybuilders, performance athletes, things like that, because I think when you get to that level, at a generic level of somebody just starting out, you don't see these big changes. Mm-mm. You know what I'm saying? But when you're at that level, like you said,
you can manipulate your sodium and water and completely change your physique.
Exactly. Yeah. So like I just from the point of recovery while someone is going through that process, how important is water in recovery?
It's critical.
How much do they drink?
So
why?
Yeah,
it's water's delivering. I think you're fucking with me. It's delivery. It's delivering everything to where it needs to go.
But what's the amount that you suggest?
A minimum of a gallon.
Minimum of a gallon.
A minimum of a gallon. I have a guy who probably drinks 2 because he sweats quite a bit more.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, it's sodium. You need to put salt in all your meals, and I prefer they do iodized sodium because iodine is not a natural occurring mineral. So add that to your meals. And then
so we're talking like the old school, just salt, like the old school salt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, some guys like pink, whatever. I don't give a shit. Just get some sodium in that's not ramen.
Yeah.
Or some bullshit. Like actual salt.
Yeah.
And that's going to help your body retain. It's going to help transport everything and hold water where you need it to hold it.
So it's one of the things that I do now, because if you don't know, I'm on 19 days of no caffeine. And one of the things that I switched to a while back was not doing caffeine first thing in the morning. Like as I wake up, like
what are you doing instead?
Electrolytes, salt.
Yeah, I was going to say either
because
salt and a fucking lemon.
What's interesting. So I do the BP and electrolytes.
Okay.
And what's interesting is what I've been reading about it is, our bodies are actually electric. So we take in this, and listen, it could be true, it could not be true. I don't know. I know that I feel differently by doing it, but I'll do my strong greens, my strong reds, my penis cocktail, my fertility cocktail of, what is that shit?
Yeah, you're supposed to go over that last time.
I know. I need to post that in the Agoge
sauce or something. Yeah, and I was like waiting for it to be uncovered, man. Like
arginine.
There's like 3 things: vitamin C, arginine,
tribulus,
probably citrulline,
sunflower sunflower
lectin,
lectin, and then there's 2 other pills that I take as well. But this is all from basically to increase sperm because we're trying to have a baby, right? And I just had a vasectomy reversal, So I take all that, anyways. So I take my penis cocktail, and then after that, I do a 32-ounce thing of electrolytes, and that's basically my morning coffee. But what's interesting is, I guess the salt interacts with the electrons in your body and actually gives you energy and wakes you up.
Okay.
Like Joe's also
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just do sodium anyway. Like,
Yeah.
I don't fucking know anything.
But-
Sodium is also draw factor, right, to go into your muscle, so it actually absorbs the water. Like if you're drinking 2 gallons of water, but you're not intaking your salt, your
You're just pissing
muscle
it out.
fibers don't
Yeah,
have that
They
absorption.
don't have the
Think of
delivery,
the
like-
salt being the sponge inside your fibers. The salt is, and therefore going to.
So like I said, I don't know how
intake.
much truth that is. It makes sense, right? Salt,
Yeah.
salt, electricity in your body. We have, we have current, and I've been seeing a good result from it. And then when I was doing caffeine, I was doing caffeine probably 2 hours after I wake up, in the form of either a cup of coffee or if it's a lifting day, pre-workout, something like
I
that.
did mud water for a while.
Yeah.
I did that for quite a while.
It had like the mushrooms in it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So I do the mushroom coffees a lot of times too.
That's what I would put it in my coffee. It's a non-stimulant, it's a replacement. I figure, well, bitch, I'm gonna put it in my coffee, so I can.
So I get both of the best.
But it worked. It works. That's what I
Guys do it
did.
like Redmond salt. It's a brand that they make, Redmond's or Hawaiian sea salt, and then a lemon. And just crush that thing up, and that's my initial 16 ounces of water that I consume throughout the day, or in the morning when I wake up.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, guys, I think we've covered. There's a whole bunch more. There's all kinds of wazoo stuff out there.
Oh yeah, I can dive into ice baths. We can dive into every single
Ice-
It's funny
I-
though.
item.
What does it go back to? A lot of it is proper nutrition, right?
Yeah.
Hydration, and
Sleep.
good proper sleep.
Those are the three
very
most
basic human
critical.
principles.
Yeah.
And maintaining stress levels low as possible.
Well, and not to get on a tangent on stress, but stress legitimately will literally cause cancer. Like stress will cause cancer. So if you got a high stressful life like I do, you need to better figure out some shit to de-stress your life. I posted that thing talking about time. Did you see that? How many blocks you have?
Oh yeah, I shared it. It's like you
saw
talk
that.
about a fucking eye opener, bud.
Yeah.
Like
one of
holy
those
shit.
I was
It's
like,
like I'm halfway through that motherfucker. I'm
I
like I haven't accomplished shit.
Yeah,
Like I haven't done enough.
And I need to not stress and love the people that love me.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But yeah, there's no room for stress. So adequate hydration, adequate nutrition, adequate sleep, and then all the other little tools and functions of recovery as well. And get weird with it. Like you should be applying yourself in recovery just as much as you're applying yourself in training.
Yes.
That's
it's not more so.
More so, really. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, if you have interesting recovery techniques, we want to know about them in the comments. Drop them below. Otherwise, if you're looking to get into the Agoge, there's a link below. Join us. Get in the room. We have some awesome conversations that unlock your mind, don't we, Joe?
Yes, sir.
So, all right. Peace.